Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Looking at 4 NBA games here on Thursday night. Going to be bringing you guys the matchup data and the insights that you need to get your bets down here for Thursday. Going to be using the Swishland model projections that are up on landyourbets.com. Going to give you guys a little opportunity to get in there for a small discount if you're interested in checking out all the bets I'm putting down and the projections. So if that all sounds good, give this video a like. Let's get right into it. As always, going to be using Props Madness here on the show. In addition to those projections, I'm going to share my screen and show you exactly how to use this platform, which is the #1 sports betting research tool for the NBA when it comes to matchup data and those types of insights. Use code LYB if you want to jump in for a 25% off little discount on your first month. Also gets you the ability to trial this out for 7 days and see if you like it. And one thing I really want to point out before we go any further is how awesome it is that the gang here over at Props Madness has now allowed us to look at guys' stats and research them even when they don't have lines yet available. Last year, if you didn't have any lines available, like is the case for the Magic and the Hornets still, you wouldn't even be able to look at this data, but they have it up here. And even more awesome, they're showing you the last closing line that was available for this player right here for LaMelo against the Heat. His closing line for his points was 25.5. You can see he went under, but this gives you a good idea of what his line is likely going to be around against the Magic in this next game. Probably a little bit lower than 25.5 because he went under against the Heat here, but it's still going to be right around that number. Really helpful and a good indication of things. But let's go ahead and dive right into this Magic and this Hornets game, because both these teams are playing incredibly fast. And the surprising part is that the Magic are 8th in pace. Not as surprising, the Hornets are 3rd in pace, right? And actually, the Hornets are the 4th best offense in the league. Not the 4th best defense, I assure you. But they are the 4th best offense in the league right now because LaMelo is hooping like crazy. And Orlando is 26th in offense, which is a big story around the league because they got Desmond Bane. They thought they were going to be better on offense after an abysmal offensive season last year. They're bottom 5, right, in the league still. So not looking good for them. But both teams have played similarly bad defenses also. So it's not like you can really give any excuses to this Orlando Magic team. A couple guys we got to point out here. Suggs is likely going to sit. Now, we don't have a tag on him of any kind, right? He's not listed as questionable, but we've been told he's not playing back-to-backs, and they just played on the day before against Detroit in that 19-point loss. So you can expect Suggs to be sitting against the Hornets, and the Hornets are not good at defending guards, right? LaMelo, as good as he is on offense, not really. Is basically a turnstile on defense. So the man that I'm looking at more than anybody is a guard who's going to get even more minutes than he normally has been, which is Anthony Black. And that's because Jalen Suggs is out. Now, Suggs missed this game here against the Bulls. Anthony Black plays 30 minutes. You might think, okay, well, he only played 30 minutes because Jalen Suggs was not available. But then you look at the next game. Suggs played, and he played 30 minutes against the Sixers. Suggs played in this game yesterday against the Pistons. He played 24 minutes in that one and probably would have played more, but the game was over, and so the end of the bench came in. But this is basically your 6th man right now for the Magic. This is a dude who's playing starter minutes coming off the bench, and now he might even start, right, for our boy here in Jalen Suggs. Last game, tried to go to De Silva. That did not work out. Anthony Black is the one getting the minutes. De Silva got like 24 minutes when Suggs sat. So going right back to him, the PRA that closed at 14.5 against the Pistons here still got over that in just 24 minutes in the blowout. I think it's probably closer to 16.5 once Suggs is ruled out for the PRA, but I'm still liking that a ton for him as he's been taking at least 10 shots, right? When he gets the 30 minutes, he's up at 10 shots or 9 at least. And then as far as the rebound chances, 9, 6, and didn't even get them against the Pistons, but again, only 24 minutes. And the potential assists, not bad either, right? About 4, 3 in that range. So looking at 1 or 2 assists, but I like adding it all together, doing a really good job on the scoring as well for him. And then the other thing I had in this one is another backup guard, but it's on the Hornets here. And I do think Trey Mann's someone we got to look at as Brandon Miller continues to be out. And for Trey Mann, he's been doing it all. So I like the PRA. This closed at 13.5 for him in this last game. And I think that this is not going to go up too far past what it was. He had 16 against the Heat, and the Magic, for all their faults, are still a good defensive team. They're 10th, I believe, in defensive rating right now. And it's not like you want to be able to pick on them, right? But Trey Mann is someone that's going to come in, play against the backups, and continue to do a lot of this, right? So I want to use the model for a minute to look at him and Anthony Black. So if we look at Trey Mann right here for he's going up against Orlando for Charlotte. We've got 27 minutes projected for him, and I love that. I think that's great. We've got him at 12 points, 3.5 dimes, 3.5 boards. So we're looking at what, like 15.5, about 19 PRA for him tomorrow. And I think we're going to get a beatable number around 13, maybe 14.5 PRA for Trey Mann. And the reason I like the minutes here is 27 minutes against the Heat. And you get a little bit nervous when you see 12 minutes against Washington. But this is why you got to dive in deeper. He got hurt in that game. So he left and didn't come back and only played 12 minutes, right? In those 12 minutes, didn't do much, obviously. Next game comes back, plays 27. And that's where we're at without Brandon Miller, right? Tre Mann without Brandon Miller means mid to high 20s in the minutes, as long as this is a relatively close game. Not sure if it will be or not, but the Magic are unimpressive. So love Tre Mann, love Anthony Black. Those are going to be my two looks here for this game. There's a couple other guys you guys are going to ask me about. I think Knippel is going to finally be a lot closer to where he should be. He was at about 13, right? Last game actually closed at 12.5 points for Knippel, and he got 19. He is going to be playing high 20s, low 30s without Brandon Miller once again, but the shooting has been lights out for him to get to where he's at, right? At least 50% from three in all of these games that he's gone over, right? The three that he went over, shot 50% from three. That's not something I want to bank on against the Magic, so I'm probably going to be a stay away on Khan in this one. Sportsbook of the week on LanderBets.com, still Novig. So if you do want to get in on the website, get all the projections we're talking about here and the bets that I'm putting down in the NBA, go ahead and sign up for Novig. Use code LYB. Get all those bonus bets and get in on Novig, and then email us, support@LandYourBets.com. I'll go ahead and get you a free month of access to all that stuff there if you just let us know that you signed up for Novig using our code. I realized I just forgot to show y'all Anthony Black as well, so I want to make sure you see him. He's at 24 minutes according to the model, 11 points, 2 dimes, 3.5 rebounds, right? So he's at about 15, 11, 13, let's say 16 PRA or so, according to the model. But I'm very confident that this goes up to 26 minutes. We don't have Jalen Suggs yet listed out, and that's the key here, right? If I go to Orlando and show you who's listed out for them, Jalen Suggs is still in there with about 15 minutes because he has not been officially ruled out. Once he is officially ruled out, then all of this stuff will change. The model will take into account that Anthony Black is going to get a few more minutes, Tristan Da Silva is going to get a few more minutes, probably Tyus Jones. They all split these 15 minutes that Jalen Suggs was projected to get, right? So I think you got to give Anthony Black a little bit of a bump here in his props, as he's only at 24 minutes and still at about 16 PRA, which again is better than what his closing line for his PRA was last game, and a beatable number that we're going to have in this game in a really, really good matchup with Charlotte. So let's move to this Bucks and Dubs game in Milwaukee, and I got a couple looks here for sure as far as the starting with the Bucks and what they're doing. Miles Turner is a guy that I always like to target against this Dubs team. He's had a great career rebounding against them. If you look at all the games head-to-head against this squad, dating back to, this is like February 8th of 24, so 2 seasons ago, he's gone over 5.5 every time. I can't believe this opened at 5.5, and I love the idea of taking that in this one, right? All these 8.8 boards per game against this squad since he's played them in the last 4 matchups. Last season, that was the case as well. And this season, he's been doing work, rebounding, right? Another awesome little feature here for us on Props Madness is the ability to go to these advanced filters, pull up things like rebound chances, which I always talk about on the show, are crucial to understanding if someone's consistently in position to get boards. Are they trying to get boards? Miles Turner's been doing that, right? He's up at about 12.5 rebound chances per game, and we need him to get 6. And you absolutely expect a 7-foot center to get 50% of their rebound chances in a normal game. So for Miles Turner, all this stuff is still coming out to say, yeah, I like over 5.5 boards a ton against a Dubs team that is small. Like, they'll probably play Quentin Post a bit, and he's been starting actually a couple times here and there against big teams. Probably have a couple bigs starting alongside Draymond so you can guard guys like Turner. I still don't care. This team is not going to be good enough at stopping him with the size that they're going to have on the floor. So I like the boards for him in this matchup more than anything. Got to talk about Ryan Rollins for a minute because he's been balling, and I really want to go back to the PRA once again for him. 21 PRA is not a bad projection, and the Dubs are a good defense. I will give them that. They're currently ranked 9th in defensive rating. They're really good at limiting stuff above the break, as you'll see here, but Rollins is not a guy that is like just shooting, right? You look at 51% of his stuff is at the rim, right? You love to see that for a guard, and that's why, even on 11 shots, he's getting really good numbers and a really good field goal percentage. And in this last game against the Knicks, he played 26 minutes, went clean off, and actually missed a bunch of time because he got hurt and had to go back to the locker room. And if he had played the whole game at about 30 minutes, probably would have been better than the 25 or 31 rather PRA that he ended with. And I just want to bring him up over here too to see what the model's saying about him in this game, because his numbers have been going up for sure. So if you have him at 27 minutes like we do right here, I'm talking about 14.5 points, 5 dimes, 3 boards. I love all of it. I love adding all of it together and not worrying about which one he's going to do. He is shooting really hot. I want to be a little bit cautious that he's running hot overall, But again, I think the minutes are be there. I think he's going to be over 30, and 26 is a low projection for him. And the model still likes him at this big number, and it's low projection, like I said. Cole Anthony. Talked about his dimes last game. They went clean off. I still think we have an edge at 4.5. I'm just super pissed at myself, man, because in this last game, I didn't just play the assists by themselves. I tried to get cute with it, playing with the points and stuff. It's a lesson to be learned, which is like if you're drawn to a player for a specific prop, then just play that prop. Even if you don't like the odds as much, you don't want to bet something minus 130, minus 120. You want to get your 4-leg. Just play the one prop. I beg of you. For me, it's been the biggest frustration so far this season is that I haven't just played the single prop that I like for a guy. And for Cole, it's assists. And granted, now he's going to go off for points against the Dubs, but I would still be looking at the assists over anything for Cole Anthony. And I think that's a pretty good over. I got a caution against AJ Green. I know he burned all of us last game because I went for the 10 plus. If you took the 2.5 threes, you did fine with AJ Green, but he's the definition of running hot right now, right? His 3-point percentage on the season, let's see right now, he shot 60, 57, 60, and 60. So 60%. So 60% threes is not a percentage you expect him to maintain. So I got to start to sort of like fade away from AJ Green until he starts taking more shots, because he's only taken 9 is the most he's taken this season. And he's only averaging like 5 or 6 shots a game, and 5 of those are threes, right? So we're just a little bit of caution for him in this one. And then I really don't have much for this Golden State Warriors team because everybody kind of does everything. So I'm a little bit out on them. But I got some stuff here for this Thunder and Wizards game. You're talking to the biggest Wizards fan in the world right now outside of DC at the DMV area because of our boy Keyshawn George, as we know. But let's start with the Thunder since they are home, and we'll get to some of the Wizards stuff in a sec. We got to talk about how Chet is out, right? So who's that going to impact? Obviously, Isaiah Hartenstein. And if we get the rebounds at 10.5 once again, I'm down to take those against the Wizards, who are going to always be one of the worst teams against centers, third worst rebounding team. Incidentally, they've only given up, they've given up the 7th most rebounds to centers as well against the position. So this is a good matchup for iHeart. If this does turn into a blowout, which it very might well could, it's a 14.5 point spread at home for the Thunder. I would believe in the blowout coming, so I might be trying to play some stuff that way. But the way I'd be playing the iHeart Isaiah Hartenstein props in the event of a blowout is over first quarter rebound 2.5, over first quarter points 2.5 or 1.5. You get it, but probably 2.5. Something to that effect I think is going to be good for him, especially the boards there. But there's a couple other guys we're going to target here. I think Caruso is going to be the guy that doesn't play in the blowout, which makes sense. He's the older guy coming off a few little injuries to start the season. I think PRA is going to be an under for him. But here's the thing. If Caruso doesn't get minutes because there's a blowout, then that would be the reason that he goes under, which means I might as well parlay the blowout with his under, right? Because those two things are so heavily correlated, I can't see them happening otherwise. And the nice thing here is if we take an under on Caruso and then just take the Thunder to win by, 15 or 10 or whatever, we're going to get some negative correlation in a way that's going to give us better odds on our parlay. Because if we're saying Alex Caruso is going to do well, then or not do well rather, but we're also saying that his team is going to win. Those are not correlated together, right? So we'd be leaning to him on the under for the PRA. And then we got to at least bring up this man here. AJ Mitchell's an absolute psychopath this season. Last game, 24 minutes, 15 shots in 24 minutes. And I stayed away from him against the Kings because I was a little bit nervous that Caruso was back and Kayson Wallace is there. And I thought he might get pushed down the bench. But what we're realizing is especially without J-Dub. Now, when J-Dub comes back, he gets pushed down the bench. But before J-Dub comes back, I think he's the only offensive player outside of SGA that can create his own shot, and Aaron Wiggins, and create shots for others. So Aaron Wiggins, AJ Mitchell, SGA. Those are the 3 guys at this point that are the ball handlers and shot creators for this team. So AJ Mitchell has to get out there, right? And play the requisite 24, 25 minutes. And I think that's what he's going to be at now. I'm nervous to bet him 6th man of the year. I would love to take him 22-1 to win 6th man of the year right now. But when J-Dub comes back, he gets pushed down. So let's take this while we can. I would take another 15 plus for AJ Mitchell against the Wizards. He's going to get some of that blowout time. We're going to see a little bit less SGA with the blowout stuff as well. Aaron Wiggins, AJ Mitchell, those would be the 2 guards that I'd be looking to get here against this squad. And then on the other side, there's 2 guys I'm going for. You already know who they are if you're watching this show at all. It's the one of the best players in the league right now. Love Keyshawn, right? He's like the Isaiah Collier of this year so far, the Davion Mitchell even, although Davion's also won us plenty of money so far. But Keyshawn has been a dude undervalued for his dimes. Love this. 7 on 12 potentials, 9 potentials, 8 potentials, right? He's at like 9 potential assists per game. And he is the ball handler alongside CJ McCollum. Like when CJ's off, he's the point guard. And even when CJ's on, he's touching the ball almost as much as CJ McCollum. And I think he's a lot more blow up. I mean, we know he is, right? The other guy is Trey Johnson. As you know, last game was the first game he did not hit for us. But the key for Trey moving forward is going to be, I think we need to wait for the games where they're not close. They're not likely going to win, or I mean, maybe they win by 10 like they did against Dallas. But the games where they're not too worried about playing because Coach Keefe is playing all of his veterans at the end of the games if they have a shot at it. So we need the blowout to feel a little bit better about the Trey Johnson alts and the Trey Johnson overs and stuff like that. But last game, he was at about 13.5 points, 12.5 points. And I think we're going to get that back down to like 10, 11.5 because it's the Thunder. But we are going to get the benefit of him getting at least 26 minutes. Maybe he starts to creep up closer to 30 when he gets the last 5-6 minutes of a game that they're down 20, 25 points in Oklahoma City, right? So when Trey Johnson comes out, I'm going to bet him 15 plus tomorrow. And if this is at 10.5, I'll take that as well. But I do think this is going to be a game where, again, you take some alts for him. It hasn't really shot well and is just still really, really close to getting 15 plus every game except for this last one. So love Trey Johnson once again in a likely blowout. Last game on the card here is the Heat and the Spurs. And I'm going to start with the Heat because Norm Powell is not likely going to play in this game. You'll see he doesn't have any lines because he's listed as doubtful. Other guy listed as questionable here is Nikola Jovic. So we immediately just go right back to looking at Jaime, right? We looked at Jaime Jaquez last game. He's not going to have lines because of the fact that if Norm doesn't play, they want to make sure they raise his lines up a bunch. Norm didn't play last game. We told you to go for Jaime. I didn't know he was going to go for 28 points in 28 minutes, but I thought he was going to have a really good game on the PRA as a whole. Flew over that with 37. It closed at 23.5. Norm doesn't play again, and I'm sure we're going to see Jaime at about the same number, probably 23.5. And I want to show you over here, once again, if you look at him, the way the model is looking at him, it has him for 22 minutes because Norm is not yet listed out, right? So at 22 minutes, it has him at 13 points, 16 points in assists, and then like 21, 22 PRA. And if this is that without Norm, these projections would all be 28 minutes, right? Which would lift everything up to probably closer to 28, 29, even 30 PRA for Jaime in this matchup here. Other guy I'm eyeing for this game is going to be Dylan Harper. I was wrong. After the first game, I told you guys, let's give Dylan Harper a little bit of a breather before we start betting on him. As good as he looks, the rook here, especially with De'Aaron Fox still out, and De'Aaron Fox is missing this game. He's already been ruled out once again. So Dylan Harper, I think, is going to be a play because the Heat, as good as they are defensively, they're 4th in defense. They're number 1 in pace, which is not something we've said about the Heat maybe ever in the franchise's history. And they're playing at the fastest pace right now, which is why their games are so high scoring, which is why a guy like Dylan Harper is going to thrive, man. A big guy who can handle the ball and moves well in transition. So I do think Dylan Harper on the points, rebounds, and assists is going to be the play for him. 22.5. I'm going to like that number. I think that's beatable. In this last one, 27 minutes, and I think he's going to be around 27 to 30, at least until De'Aaron Fox comes back. He's going to have a decent time in this one. So I do think Dylan Harper on the PRA, 23, 24, that's a good number to hit for him. All right, y'all, make sure you check out the NFL video for Thursday Night Football. Have that up with Nate in there. Got a bunch of player props and some angles for you guys for that game. And then we are going to come back here on Thursday night with a video for Friday as well for the NBA, trucking along. So until I see y'all next, happy betting.